of all the topics that I'm covering in this solo mini-series, I am certain that visibility is the one where my thoughts and beliefs around it have changed so much since last time I recorded these episodes and since I started my business. I think there has been a huge shift in how I think about and what I believe about being visible as an entrepreneur. So tune into the episode and find out exactly how and why it's changed so much. Welcome to The Ambitious Introvert, the podcast for founders and entrepreneurs who want to create big results in their business without draining their energy. I'm your host, Emma-Louise Parks. Let's dive in. Welcome back to this How I Think About series, and definitely a very deep one. I've been thinking about this for the last 3 or 4 days as I knew that I was coming up to recording it. And if I'm honest, I think that visibility was probably the biggest stumbling block that I had in getting my business off the ground. I was considering starting a business and I was kind of playing around with it, but not really committing to it for about 3 years before I finally took the leap in 2019. And when I look back, if I'm honest, there were a lot of things that held me back from it. One was not having a solid understanding of business and marketing and all of those things. And I did spend a lot of those years, investing in courses and learning things and listening to podcasts, which, was helpful when I decided to go all in. However, one of the main reasons I think is that I am a very private person. I tried Facebook for a little while when it came out and I just didn't like it and left. I am much more likely to chat to people one-on-one than be in some kind of big group chat. And being visible was just so outside of, not just outside of my comfort zone, but just outside of my life. I didn't even have LinkedIn. I didn't have the kind of career that required me to be online in any way, shape, or form. I didn't even get visible at work. I sat behind a radar screen and spoke to people through a microphone, a little like I'm doing now. So visibility is definitely not something that, as someone that was born in the early 80s, that I grew up with. Social media didn't really exist until I was in my mid-20s. So it wasn't a big part of my life. And it's something that I really needed to adjust to. And I haven't listened to what I've said about visibility when I released this series 3 years ago, but I imagine then, knowing who I was then and what my experience of life and business was, I would probably have thought that visibility was really about showing your face. I remember having this real judgment of selfies and not understanding why do people just want to put selfies? It just seemed so indulgent, so self-indulgent. I didn't get it because I guess I'm not from that age where it was a normal thing. And now I have zero judgment of selfies, which is, obviously a lot to do with the work that I've done on my beliefs. But the biggest thing that I didn't really understand back then is that no one is buying from people that they don't know. People buy from people. And I've heard that about 1 billion times since I started my business. And every time I hear it, I believe it a little bit more. And when I see now social media accounts or websites and the person doesn't show their face, it feels weird to me. And I remember my first coach saying, you have to show your face. People will not buy from you if they haven't seen you. And it's so true. And I guess it's because we're essentially replicating what we would do in the real world, but through devices, right? You would, if you were going to go and hire a coach in person or work with, a graphic designer in person, and the only way you were going to do it is to go into their store or, go to their house or however people would work. You're going to see their face. They're not hidden away. And so I think I would have thought of visibility much more from that angle, about getting visible from a mindset point of view. But when I think about visibility now, and when it came up as one of my ideas for this series, I was thinking about how I work with clients. Now, the high majority of my clients are very well established in their business. They are not worried about showing their face on social media. They get it. But when we talk about visibility and when I'm coaching them around visibility, it's much more about intentionality because we're worried about them draining their energy. So it's not so much about, oh, like, let's get you visible because you're hiding away and you're scared. It's much more about what is the most intentional way for you to be visible so that you are being seen by the right people, whether that is the people that will want to collaborate with you or the people that will want to hire you and pay you money and grow your business. And that, I think, is a very different way of thinking about it. But like I say, when visibility came up as a potential topic when I was brainstorming, that is the first thing that came to mind. So this intentional, strategic visibility. And therefore, that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. And all of that to say, if you're newer to business and you are still feeling the kind of ick about being visible online, like that's normal and that's fine. And there's no judgment here. But it's just that in doing this series, I'm really trying to look at the way I think about things now and the way I approach these matters with my clients now. And as I say, in 90% of cases, the conversations I'm having about visibility is much more about where are they going to be and why are they doing it and who are they trying to be visible to. So I think one of the biggest things across the board with my clients is this hate of trying to chase algorithms and this idea that going viral is something to be kind of lauded. And I think now, we're in late 2025. Most people, even if they have big online businesses, understand that going viral is not what it's cracked up to be. 3 or 4 years ago, when this was like really a thing, people thought that if they had like one viral post, that was it. Their business was going to pop off. They were going to get 100,000 followers. They were going to make millions. And in fact, what we're seeing now, because of the way algorithms work, is that the things that are going viral are not necessarily the same things that will encourage people to come and work with you, especially in the more coach, consultant, service provider industry, where a lot of people got burnt over the last 5 years. A lot of people worked with people that were quite unethical, people got overcharged and they were underdelivered to. And there has been a big trust deficit in the coaching consulting space that a lot of people have had to navigate because people came out of, we came out of COVID. There were stimulus checks. There was a lot of money floating around. People were home all day on full pay thinking, hey, I'll start a business. Like the coaching boom definitely was a thing for a few years. And then I think coming out of that, what we're seeing is people are much more discerning about who they invest in and when they invest and why and how much and what they expect from their investments, which is a great thing because we want that discernment. But what that means is that the content that people need to read, hear, watch, listen to, whatever from these people selling these services, it needs to go deeper. Like the people used to get away with oh, I just made 10K in a day. Like DM me and I'll show you how. And they literally grew businesses like that. And that just doesn't wash anymore. I don't think that I've seen many people at all with revenue metrics because people just don't trust it. People are smart and discerning, as I say. And people realize that people lied about their revenue. I think it took a while for people to really understand that. But then they were like, oh, you're just lying. And also the people that say oh, I just made 10 grand in 5 minutes or whatever, and I'll show you how. Well, they show you how and it doesn't work for you because your business is different and you're a different person and you've got a different audience. And so it's not this kind of simple plug and play, just tell me what to do and I'll do it and get exactly the same result that many people wanted to believe was true at points, including myself, because that would be great. But alas, it was not. So all of that to say, I think that our content as business owners, we need to really think of it differently now. There's nothing wrong with going viral or trying to, get, especially, Reels or TikToks or things that do have a good reach right now to get them viral. But it's understanding what that does for you. What does it do? Hopefully it brings in some fresh followers and it boosts your audience. And that really is the main thing. That is what you're looking for from going viral. In this day and age, it's very unlikely you will have one viral video and someone that's never seen you before will find it and come and spend like multiple 5 figures on big high ticket service from you. It's not out of the realms of possibility. We never want to close the door to these things, but I think it's understanding what your content does. So what the algorithm likes, short and snappy and trending audios and all of these different things. Look, I'm not fully on top of this because I don't do Instagram or TikTok. So this is just from my clients. But those things are, like I say, great for bringing in views and followers, but they're not the type of content that helps people to really trust you and get a depth of understanding about the work that you do. And that kind of visibility, I think, is much deeper. I think deep is probably the right word. And it's things like this podcast. So, okay, I may not be super visible on social media. I'm not posting photographs of myself every day or videos, but I'm extremely visible in this podcast in that I share very, very openly and candidly about exactly how I feel, what I think. There's no gatekeeping. And so it's a different kind of visibility, but I believe that is truly seen by the right clients. Another thing with podcasting, the trend has gone towards video. I have resisted the trend because I don't like trends, but also from a strategic business decision, I don't believe, and if you're one of these people and I'm wrong, then please feel free to correct me, but I don't believe the majority of my listeners want to sit and watch a video when they listen to a podcast. I rarely do. Occasionally, if it's a video podcast that I've been listening to on audio and I'm going to listen to it in the living room, I will put it on Spotify on the TV and the video will be on. But I'm usually doing something else at the same time. And the feedback that I have got from private clients who still listen to the podcast, God bless you all, thank you very much, is that they don't want to watch a video. They listen while they're driving or walking the dog or out on a run or cooking dinner. And so that is one thing with visibility. Like trends can be very, seductive, that we have to do this thing because everyone else is doing it and it looks really popular. And sometimes it doesn't make sense for you or your clients or your potential clients or your business, or in fact, your energy, which honestly is the main reason that I don't do a ton of video. I'm past the worried about what my face looks like on video. I don't mind video whatsoever. I actually convert really well from video. It was a big part of my strategy for a long time. When people joined my wait list or applied to join a program when I was running groups, I would always send them a personalized video and we could have a video conversation. I actually had a video sales page for my private coaching that got a ton of views and people then downloaded a brochure about it. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago. But for me, video is exhausting because I don't have a great background in my office, so it takes a lot of moving everything around. I don't have great light in my office, so it takes a lot of that. I don't wear makeup, so I'm going to have to do something to, look decent under bright lights if I'm doing video. So all of this starts to feel just really, really tiring. It's like a real energy drain. So that is, that's one of the reasons that I don't do it. And that's a strategic decision. So if my office was lighter and I had a better setup behind me and I got a great light and a camera set up already, would I do? Yeah, probably. I'd probably just press it and do it every couple of days without thinking about it. But that's not where I am. And so that's why I don't do it. But this type of content that I'm going to call this deeper content, podcasts, email newsletters, email is having a day. It is having a massive resurgence, and I'll come back to that. Blog posts, YouTube videos, if video is your thing, right? Longer YouTube videos. It's been shown over and over again that these are the types of content that are making people invest in people. Because when they can really deeply listen to you, watch you, read, 1,500 words that you've written, books, another great long form of content, right? I have definitely gone to work with people after reading their book. And all of this is to say that the algorithm will tell you to make it quick and short and snappy and dance around and put this audio on or do this trend that everyone else is doing. And there's nothing wrong with that for the reach, but it's understanding that there's a different part of your content which is really important for the connection so that people understand you and understand why they would want to work with you. And it's funny because in podcasting as well, there's been a trend towards shorter episodes. A lot of people do a mix and do shorter episodes, or keeping things under 30 minutes, which I kind of used to do at the start, but I've been a bit more fluid, really heavily cropping and editing interviews. That's very, very, very popular. Whereas we put pretty much the whole interview, other than cutting out filler words or if someone, fluffs up and makes a mistake. And the feedback, again, if I'm wrong, let me know. But the feedback that I get is that people enjoy that because they enjoy listening to it like a natural conversation. And in fact, one of my long-term clients listened to a fairly recent interview, which I think was 50 minutes. And she was like, I loved it. I listened to it twice. And I mean, if that doesn't tell me everything I need to know. So I think visibility is gaining more depth. It's gaining more presence. It's moving away from this feeling of I have to be everywhere, just showing my face at every moment so that people see me in all the places. And it's about understanding how it works for your business ecosystem and for your marketing. So yeah, maybe you do want to be in places that you reach a lot of people, like TikTok, and then understanding that there is a flow from that those people finding you or following you, you want a place to move them along to nurture them, and so that they can get a better feel for you, because while they're on the app, 30 seconds later, they're going to be watching someone else's video, right? So that is where your email lists come in. That is where your podcast, your YouTube channels, etc. That's where all of these things kind of come into their own. But it's just a different type of visibility. And the biggest thing that I say to any client, and I would say to anyone listening that is kind of grappling with this, is where are your people? And that understanding that is huge. Where are your ideal clients hanging out? There is a reason that I don't use TikTok as well as the performance of video. And that is that I know a lot of people are on there, but for the most, I don't believe my ideal client is on there. And I don't believe my ideal client, because right now I'm only working one-on-one with clients. So, if I had a lower price offering or a membership or something, yeah, okay, that's different. Then yes, I would definitely be saying my clients are on there. But for high ticket one-on-one private coaching for established business owners, I don't believe that my people are on there scrolling feed, because I know my own clients and I know what they're doing in their spare time. And if they are on TikTok or Instagram, I don't believe they're scrolling there looking for business advice. And again, I'm open to being wrong. If you're like, Emma-Louise, no, you're wrong, I'm spending like 2 hours a day scrolling TikTok getting business advice about introverts, then I stand corrected. But for me, I have to make a decision about where my time and energy goes when it comes to being visible. And so because of that, that's a no. Are my ideal clients on LinkedIn? Yeah, absolutely. Are they reading emails? Yeah, absolutely. Are they listening to podcasts? Yes, still my biggest lead generator in my business after 5 years. Are they attending networking events? Yes. Are they getting referred to me by current clients, past clients, or other people in my network who, when they say what their problem is, they go, oh, go and talk to Emma-Louise? Yes, absolutely. So there is a different kind of visibility there. Networking is one that is quite often overlooked and is so, so valuable. If you know someone, whether you already know them in person, whether you've been connected and had a coffee chat, whether you've been in a mastermind together, when you know someone in that way and they know what you do, you are top of mind in a different way to what people see when they're scrolling social media. So I guess if I were to sum that up, I would think about visibility these days as being more intentional than this scattergun approach of trying to be everywhere. And I understand its place. And I understand the place of different types of content and how that can be powerful. But that we still have to have our strategy there so that we understand that. We can't be relying on something going viral just to sign client, because that is not how it's panning out in 2025. And so the one thing that I will leave you with those visibility thoughts, and this is quite timely, is quite timely and meta in so many ways. But I got an email this morning from someone whose emails I subscribe to, because emails are having a day and I'm loving them. And he actually said that his post got shared by an account that's followed by over 1 million people. I'm going to guess this is on X because he's very active on X or Twitter, if you still call it that. And he said that he got no new subscribers or sales from it. Nothing at all. And this is someone that has a good-sized email list. It's not huge, but a very good network and consistently makes 7 figures in his business every year. And people would think, wow, I'm going to get retweeted by this person and they've got this huge following and that's it. I'm made, I'm going to get all this influx of subscribers. And there was nothing. And again, it's understanding the people that he's connected with that know him, that are reading his emails like me, are the people that are much more likely to become clients or recommend him to someone else than people that are just following someone and that someone happens to retweet something he said that they weren't necessarily looking for in the first place. So it's a little I guess, I could get on a big news program in Brazil and it wouldn't really be much use to me because I don't speak Portuguese, so it's not my market, right? So great, I could be seen by tens of millions of people. What's he going to do for my business? Potentially nothing. Whereas if I get invited to speak on a panel that's very, very relevant to the type of client that I serve and really highlights my skill set, then there's a very good chance that 2 or 3 people might approach me after that to learn more about working with me. So all of that to say, visibility in my eyes, if you'll excuse the pun, has definitely changed for me so much over the last 9 years. And then since I've been in business in 2019, this real understanding of I want to be visible to the right people in the right places, and that I can do that in a way without compromising my energy or absolutely exhausting myself. And, that could change. Next year, the algorithms could change. What is working well in the industry could change. Trends will change. But like I say, I'm not really one for trends. But it's understanding that right now, where are my people? How can I connect with them? And for me, that is still a podcast and it is still emails for the most. And then, we use social media sparingly. And that's not to say it's the only way to do it. As an introvert, I've got clients that are, like I say, using TikTok. I've got clients that do a lot of in-person events because it works for them where they live. I've got clients that they go into other people's memberships and masterminds and teach there, and they grow their email lists in that way. And then they're prolific emailers, and that's how they grow their business. So it's understanding, yes, what is working now is important, but what works for you? What works for you? Because what can you sustain and what makes sense for your client? What makes sense for you to be visible doing or saying, and where for the right person that is going to hire you to go, this is exactly what I need in my life. Thank you so much for listening to my rambling thought about visibility. And I look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks for the next How I Think About episode in this solo series. But for now, take care. Thank you for tuning in to The Ambitious Introvert. Be sure to follow or subscribe in your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please consider leaving a quick review or sharing it with another introvert who'd love it too. See you next time when I'll have even more insights to keep your business growing and your energy flowing.